Hello and welcome to episode 6 of The Rubber Match. I am your host, Seth Weber. With me always my hetero life mate, Brian Freeland.
I brought it tonight. I'm bringing it.
It's been brought. We are running the same teams that we ended the last episode in, with our first game that went into OT. So it's going to be the Los Angeles Kings and the Boston Bruins, and we're gonna see if it's another tight one, or we gotta or the cobwebs need to be shaken off.
We'll see.
So it's been 2 weeks since we last played that game. What's been going on?
Oof. Come on, boss.
You're too focused. Too focused on the game already.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm skating slow. Here we go. Yeah. So, what have you been? Oh, there we go. There's my guy. I've been watching House of the Dragon.
I haven't gotten into it yet. From what I've heard, the people that have watched what's out of it have said that it's more like the early seasons of Game of Thrones than obviously the later ones. So I think we're going to probably give it a shot. I don't know when we started I started the show Anna the Bear. So it'll probably be after we get through that.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely. Here's my hot take on Game of Thrones. I was disappointed, like most people were, with like the last season, right? But it was really good at the beginning, and I had a lot of fun in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So it like that doesn't color the whole, like that last season doesn't color the whole experience for me.
Yeah.
Like the same way with Lost. Was I disappointed in the end? Yeah. But like,
it was a hell of a ride to get there.
Absolutely.
Oh, what kind of physics bullshit was that?
Oh my good Lord. So I liked it, and I don't know. I think the writers were pretty aware of how people felt about that last season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different crew, right? Like, the showrunners are different than the original.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure they took all of that, and they were like, oh, man, we got a little bit of an uphill climb to deal with.
Right. So, it's funny because last – I have no idea.
Passed back to the goalie. Oh, Lord.
Last night I started watching, and I didn't get through the first episode just because I was tired, but not because, oh my God, you just pushed my goalie out of the way.
Yep. I remembered that I got to bully this goalie.
So I started watching The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, last night.
Yep.
And it's, get out of there. It's funny to compare the two, because both kind of like central characters or protagonists are like blonde-haired women, right?
Yeah.
But yes. Then you have but totally they're just like completely different. Especially when you have like that the halflings, which are like not hobbits yet, but I think people who are like Tolkien super nerds are really going to be into the show.
Really?
I am not one of those people, but it gets I was what? Not a Tolkien super
I'm not either. And it's one of those things, like they spent however much, like $1 billion on the show or whatever, and I'm not interested at all. But
really?
It's also one of those things where it's like, I mean, I didn't like the movies. I like the Hobbit. I like the Hobbit movies better than I like the Lord of the Rings movies.
What?
I did.
Are you serious?
The Lord of the Rings movies.
What kind of take is that?
it's
I've
my
never
take.
heard that before.
Yeah, it's
Holy
my take.
shit.
The only thing I would say was the context in which I watched the Hobbit movies. I watched all three in a row on a plane back from New Zealand, where I had visited some of those locations. Again, up to that point, I had seen all three Lord of the Rings movies. I'd watched the first one in the theater, and I was pissed at the end because there was no ending. And then the second one came out. I watched both the first one and the second one together in a theater room at someone's apartment. Again, I think I fell asleep in the middle of the second one. And so I was like, I'm just not doing this anymore. Like, this isn't for me. I'm just not going to watch the third one. I don't care about it. And then my dad forced me to watch the third one. He was like, you haven't seen the third one? It's so great. And we watched it in his apartment. And I was like, it's the same shit. Like, I don't care about any of this. But when we went to New Zealand, I was like, you can't not go and visit those locations. Sure. And I'll say that, like, seeing Hobbiton, which is on like a sheep farm, is magical.
Right.
Like, it's crazy and it's awesome, and I'd recommend it to anybody who, even if they're not a fan. But then we watched all three of the Hobbit movies on the way back, and I enjoyed them. I had a much better time, and maybe because it told a full story. I don't know, but that's where it sits in my mind for me. Oh, fuck.
From the defenseman.
Yeah, but it also feels like it's going to become one of those cultural touch points that I'm gonna feel obliged to have to watch it. If that makes sense. Like, to spend that much money on it, even if it's terrible, like, I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it.
Like, you know what show I feel that way about? The Sopranos.
I could see that. Yeah, I've never watched the whole thing. I've watched seasons, but not the whole thing.
Right. So, don't want to stay away from that puck, why don't you? Yeah, it's. I feel that way about The Sopranos, and to some extent, I felt that way about Breaking Bad for a while. Like, I didn't really.
I still have not watched all of Breaking Bad.
I didn't care for the first season. The second season was like, okay, I can see the draw of this, but like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of heavy, and it takes some time. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not expecting people to watch Sex and the City like I did, but
never watched that either.
I think it's, you don't have to.
But I've watched Deadwood like 4 times.
But I'm glad I did. I haven't finished the third season of Deadwood.
You haven't seen the movie either, have you?
Oh, good. No, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you have to finish the third season to appreciate the movie.
Yeah, that's what I was
like. The movie is 100% made for fans of the show. Like, it's not made for new people coming in. It is like, hey, you want to know what these people were up to 10 years after the end of the third season? Well, here you go.
Sure.
I love it. It's one of my favorites. Oh!
Work.
I thought you were gonna do it. I thought that was the one. So you said are you saying that you're bouncing off Lord of the Rings, or like how are your feelings on it?
Yeah. So far, I was like, I'm gonna watch this. Oh my god, that fucking guy needs to go. Yeah. So I'm gonna continue watching it. You know what they did is, like, I'm caught up in She-Hulk. I finally finished Miss Marvel, but that is like the weakest show that Marvel has put out. It is like, it doesn't really make any sense. I don't know. I don't really know what it's about. Like, I don't know. There's no real principal antagonist. It doesn't make sense. And I like Miss Marvel. I like that character. But I'm trying to figure out what they decided, what they're doing.
I think I had gotten 4 or 5 episodes in, and it seemed like there was. It felt like there was an antagonist at that point, or at least, like, I was saying, there was probably some sort of shift in their role, or that organization's role, or whatever. But at that point in the story, there definitely felt like there was.
Right. And you think that's where it's going to go, and then the last episode, maybe 2 episodes, you're like, what?
Huh.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So let's.
What the?
Oh my good Lord! Holy shit! Replay. Please replay that.
What
Holy
shit. Wait a minute, I didn't do that right.
Oh, sorry. Did you want to say goodbye? Oh, okay.
Oh, it didn't even go back far enough. That's how far the shot was. It was here.
Oh my God. All the way down there.
He caught it and then just let it go.
Wow.
Oh boy. That's okay.
All right. Off the tip of the glove.
All
you know what? I can't wait to watch this episode so I can see the whole thing. Oh.
that was ridiculous.
Wow.
All right, 4-3 going into the third. We finished season 2 of Only Murders in the Building.
Cameron, good night. Am I down? Yeah, I am down here. All right. Oh.
What are you doing?
Get out of here.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, we finished season 2 of Only Murders in the Building, and it's strong. It's a strong second season. They did a really good job.
Okay.
I'm curious where they.
First?
That's a good question. I feel like it's pretty on par. I think it's a good follow up. It's a good second story considering like it picks up right after the end of the first one. So I think it's a good follow up, and then they like leave you with a good setup for season 3. And they're either really confident or they had like already known that they were going to be picked up again. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I can't.
He was ready for it.
He was. I mean, it was the goalie was laying down again.
Yeah.
Of the original SNL cast, did you have a favorite?
Of the original cast?
Yeah. Or early cast, I guess. What the fuck? This isn't so bad.
I mean, what they typically say is like your favorite SNL is the SNL you grew up with.
Oh, okay.
That's typically what people say, and that like usually it's harder to appreciate. It may be easier to appreciate stuff before it, but the stuff after it just doesn't land. But I would say I grew up with like Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman's probably my favorite cast member, just because he's kind of. I feel like he's so versatile. Not to mention like everything he went on to do, like voiceover wise for The Simpsons and everything after that. But yeah, I like Phil Hartman the best.
Fuck. Like your boy kicked that in with his skate.
I don't know. Like there have been several times at this game that I thought that was going to go into his leg. That my guy's been laid out with his legs spread open in front of the goal. He continues to pay dividends.
Oh shit! This is fucking embarrassing. What the hell? Oh my God. So I don't know. Maybe. So I didn't watch the original, but I grew up like when the original cast had started going on and doing their own movies and their own projects.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So you think movies like the movies I grew up with, like Three Amigos.
Yep. And even like Coneheads and stuff like that were coming out when we were growing up.
Right. So, I'm thinking of the 80s. Oh my God. Oh.
Do you realize that? So I kind of always point this out that A Bug's Life is Three Amigos. It's sort of a slightly different take on Seven Samurai.
Yes.
But
it is.
Bug's Life is closer to Three Amigos than it is Seven Samurai because of the performance aspect of it, that they're actors, or the circus bugs in Bug's Life. But
that's right. I forgot they were circus bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about that. Yeah, because whenever I think about it, I think about Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that movie's so good too. Three Amigos is so good.
Yeah. Now, I asked because I was always a fan of Chevy Chase, so I grew up with Fletch.
Yeah. Have you seen the new trailer?
I heard about it.
You heard about it.
So here's the thing. I heard about it.
Uh-huh.
I'll have to watch it. I don't see John Hamm in that role.
So I didn't either.
I would someone like Jason Sudeikis, I think, would be perfect for it.
I could see that too. I've always thought Ryan Reynolds would make a great Fletch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I didn't think, when I saw the thumbnail for it, and I was like, what? Okay, that's interesting. And the trailer started, and I was in a mind that was I don't know how I feel about this. And as it progressed, and the second time I watched it with Anna, I was on board with it. I had to get my Chevy Chase Fletch out of my head.
Right.
And once I did that and was like, is he this character? Yeah, he's this character, and he can handle this. It looks like a lot of fun.
Okay, because I've read the first, I don't know, quarter of the Fletch books.
I started to read the first. I think I started to read the beginning of the first one, and I think I need to pick it back up again.
The first and second one are really good. The third one is kind of weak. Yeah. All right.
Should we? How are you feeling after? How are you feeling after that?
I think you need to drop. Can you drop?
I can. I've got the Ottawa Senators at 57, which is a 3-point drop, and the Detroit Red Wings, which is a 3-point drop from there. So I've got 6 more points I can drop. You can go up
drop
1 point.
Only one. All right. So all right. Let's do it. You go down 1. I'll go up 1.
Okay. So I'm Ottawa, and you would be Tampa Bay. That's as high as you can go. I got one more I can go down. All right.
You know what? I was really feeling Boston last time, and
I know.
This time, I don't know. They let me down.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. In that third period, it just.
Yeah. Oh boy. This is gonna be. You did have that rink distance goal though, so that's something.
Oh yeah. I mean, they'll always do that.
Oh, he's going fast enough to get there. I did watch the first 2 episodes of She-Hulk.
Okay.
It felt weird to me, and I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on why. And I know in the comics, she's typically viewed as not necessarily as, she's not as comical as Deadpool, but she does a lot of fourth wall breaks.
Okay.
I know that, but I don't know much more about the character beyond that. So I was kind of going in, oh, no. Oh, I was kind of going in pretty clear. And the showrunner is a woman who wrote the Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty.
Really?
Yeah. And she also did a podcast with Dan Harmon called Whiting Longs. which is about
yeah.
ethnicity in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's a really good podcast, and I highly recommend it. It's sort of like her kind of shepherd him through, because he's a whatever at this point, like 50-year-old white dude in Hollywood, and having that conversation with a Asian writer at that point was in his employ.
And
I really like her. I don't know. There was something about it that just wasn't. It felt off to me, and I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know what it is. And it could be the CG. The CG I find a bit distracting.
The CG is pretty awful.
It really is, and I don't know if that's like the stuff that we're seeing, where like Marvel's like working these artists to like death with the amount of like shots they're asking them to produce.
Yeah, I guess
the timeline.
I find the CG distracting.
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of able to get over it a little bit. Like, I don't know. I was wondering. I was like, why is it so bad? And I don't know.
But I'm gonna ride with it and see where it goes. I need to.
Anna, here's a reminder from Fletch.
Oh.
Sega Genesis.
Who's that? Is
That's
that your Alexa?
It is, yeah. For whatever reason, I put a reminder on to remind us to give Sadie her medicine, and at some point it went from like give Sadie your medicine to where it named you. It was like, Seth, give Sadie your medicine. And then it gave you the opportunity to like put other people's names on it. So I did that. And I pointed it to Anna, and then it recently just added, here's a reminder from Seth. Anna, give Sadie her medicine. And I'm like, what the that is not what why are you just changing shit just for the fun of it?
Yeah, that was me not being quick enough with the manual goalies.
Yeah. I'm trying to just not touch him, like unless he has the puck, because I feel like whenever I touch him is when it gets real squirrely.
Yeah, I didn't touch him that. I didn't touch him. I didn't touch him that time, just because I was worried.
Way over there. Also, in the break between us recording, it was my birthday.
Oh, that's right.
And I feel like I had a full-on Mario birthday. The kids got me like a giant Mario Lego set.
Yeah, and then they dropped it or broke it or
no. That one I already had. This one is a giant like a block. So it's a set based on Mario 64, and it's like a giant block that you would like hit to get mushrooms out of or whatever. But there's 3 of the stages from Mario 64 that are inside of the block. So like they can go. The block can look solid, or you can open the top and like fold out the other worlds. It's pretty cool. And it was a fun build, and it was cool. And then I bought myself. I went on Mercari, which is what I've been using instead of like eBay lately to buy like used shit. And I found a used.
What's the name of the website? Mercari.
Mercari, MERCARI.
Oh yeah, okay. Somebody's telling me about it.
And I found a used copy of Super Mario All-Stars 3D for the Switch, which combines Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy into one game for the Switch. And so I got it for like $35, something like that, which is like a steal for like three games.
Yeah.
I bought that, and then I also bought Super Mario Maker 2 for the Switch, with the idea of like I could make some levels for the kids, because like the original Mario games are still a little too hard for them. So I could make something that would like they'd be able to enjoy and play through. So I've been playing a lot of those. I've played a decent amount of Mario 64, which I had never done because I didn't have a Nintendo 64 growing up.
Yeah.
But that game is it's good, but it's rough. It's really rough. Like it feels like it's like 2D designers who were like they were like told like, hey, you're gonna be working 3D now, and they were like, do what now? It's rough, and it's like obviously those are like early days of 3D, but it's like, whew, boy, okay. But it's interesting because I feel like my Mario journey kind of ended.
Oh, what the? I don't even know how.
I don't know what happened either. You like
I feel like you were cherry picking behind the net, and just I'm not gonna let that gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been fun. I've made like the Super Mario Maker is dope. Like the speed at which you can create a Mario level in like a bunch of different styles is pretty mind-boggling. Like the tools are super easy to use, and you can make it as hard as you kind of want to. And it's because of the touch controls on the Switch, you can just touch on the screen to like add stuff wherever you want. It's super easy.
That's dope. That's
yeah,
dope.
it's pretty great. Yeah. Ooh.
I've seen some pretty incredible things. Like in order for that level to be published, the person who made it like has to beat it. And I've seen some like just like the timing on some of those. I was like,
oh yeah, no, it's crazy.
What do people do with those time? Yeah,
it's like the some of like those super hard levels will have like sub 1% clear rates,
right?
Of like people that are able to finish the level versus the people that have played it. It's nuts. Oh. He laid down so early.
He did. He's always.
Oh man. So it sounded like you had watched In and of Itself.
I did. And then I made a bunch of other people watch it.
Yeah.
And so
it's one of those,
man.
Know, it really is.
It's interesting because, part of it is it's hard to describe, and that's part of it too, because he talks about people are going to come away from this experience and they're going to give it a name, or they're going to say this is what they saw and this is what happened. And then there's that whole thing of like, what people see versus what he wants them to see, or what he shows, and what his makeup is, and how he ties that metaphor, how he draws that parallel between identity and magic. It's pretty interesting. So I don't know, when I tell people about it, I'm like, it's a part magic, part performance piece, part like kind of philosophical introspection. Oh my God. I can't play with this team.
When I was talking to Anna about it, because we watched it again last night because she hadn't seen it, and we didn't actually get to finish it, which is a shame. We got to he was in the middle of the last bit, which people listening, like people watching, if you haven't seen it, go watch it on Hulu. Derek DelGaudio, I can't remember his name.
Derek DelGaudio.
DelGaudio in and of itself. But when we were talking about it, we were like, I think I would describe it now as a one-man show with magic. Like It feels much more like a one-man show than it does a magic show.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's it is
like I've never seen anything like it. And
no.
My wife, when she watched it, said like, "Is he still doing this? Can we see this?" Like she was just talking about like what it would have been like to. I mean, for 522 shows, so it like ran for 2 years. Oh,
and that was something too that Anna brought up, because like there's a point in the show where he asks somebody to come back to the next show, and he gives them a book, and then he kicks them out before the end of the show and says like, you know, put down what you've seen, and then I want you to imagine what the end of the show is. And Anna was like, man, those people were way more creative than she's like, than I think I would have been. And I was like, well, they also picked the best entries. But I was also like, there's also a difference between us watching it now and sitting in that room and experiencing some of that stuff firsthand, and like how inspired you would have walked out of that theater.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't, even if you left before his sort of final I am bit, which is like unreal.
Right.
Like that identity bit at the end is just mind-boggling. I can't understand. Like, you begin to understand how he's doing that.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. Like, part of me like, there's a part of me that like thinks, okay, how could he have done that? And then another part of me is like, can I just enjoy like the spectacle of it? And I guess I can do both. You know, it's.
I mean, I think one of the things that like it made me that bit and the letters bit are the two parts of the show that like really affect me. And both of them, I think what I realized this time watching it is that like, that they impact me on an emotional level, but they also impact me on like a, hey, like this isn't hard for me to believe magic is real.
Right.
Like it's a very easy suspension of disbelief to just be like, I don't know how he's doing this. I can't wrap my head around it. Like it's very rare these days for me to look at something and be like, you know, I have no earthly clue how that's happening. And it just like being able to see something like that is, it's rare these days. So I just appreciate that so much more when I see something like that.
And he makes a good point in the show too. Is like, you know, whether it's magic or a trick, like the emotional experience you have is real.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have an experience, and the emotion that those people are feeling is real, and so there's something to be said for that. So it's I basically, after you told me to watch it, I watched it that night, and then I made my wife watch it the next day, and then I told a bunch of other people to watch it. I don't know if they have or not, but I told my therapist to watch it. Yeah, I just wanted people to talk about it.
Yeah, it's something, man. It is absolutely something. I'm like, I think he wrote a book too that I put on my list that I want to. I think there's an audio version of it too that I really want to check out. But I'm anxious to be like, he's got to be up to something else, and I really want to be able to see something that he does live.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. I mean, I can drop one more next week, next episode.
Yeah,
and then we're there.
You're gonna have to, and then I'm just gonna have to get really good at this game. I'm just gonna have to put in some hours. Yikes. The last thing I will say is when I was so I worked at this place that this summer camp that had a lot of celebrities show up at the camp and kind of tour around and meet kids. and I had an afternoon that I spent with David Blaine.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that's when I started believing in magic again, because I saw some stuff that, like, and it wasn't just like stuff you see on TV. I saw some stuff in person.
Yeah.
Where I was just like how? Like, I don't understand. He walked up to a group of kids, and he told one, like, pick a card and don't show them, right?
Yeah.
And so the kids pick a card, it goes back to the deck, and he's doing all the sleight of hand and talking and, you know, told them to think of this card. And it's all that stuff, and so he says, you know, he flips the card up. He's like, "This is your card, right?" And the kid starts laughing. He said, "No." And so David Blaine gets this, like, look on his face. He's like, "No?" And you think, like, it's going to be at the bottom of the deck. It's going to be, like, in his mouth. It's going to be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he looked like he generally got, like, pretty pissed. And he turned around and he threw the deck of cards against the window.
It was on the inside of the window.
It was on the inside of the window.
Yeah, I've seen him do that trick on one of his specials before. That's so crazy.
And to see it in person.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I love that he shows up in that too, like, in and of itself, that he's in the audience.
Yeah.
Like, you see him during that last bit, and he identifies as his brother.
You're right. Right.
It's so good. And like, it's crazy too, because, like, that was the moment where we stopped it, so I had it paused. But, like, if you see him, like, he actually looks like he's tearing up.
Yeah, I know.
Like it affected him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's so good. So good.
It is. It is. And I'm really curious to see what he does next.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for recommending it. Good recommendation.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. I'm going to try to put in some hours on this game this week, I think. And I think I'm going to fluctuate between Boston and Tampa Bay. I don't know.
Those are your best bets.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Who do you have left? Who's at the bottom of the barrel for you?
The bottom team is Detroit Red Wings. That's who I will be taking next week.
All right. And is it possible for you to, like, play without a goalie?
Technically, I think I could. I'd get an extra person on the ice, though. So it would be 6 on 5 plus a goalie, and but I wouldn't have anybody between the pipes.
Right. So wait. So wouldn't that be 6 on 6 still? You just have no goalie?
It would be. I just wouldn't have a goalie. Yeah.
Right.
So we could look at that. We could look at that after. It's an option. We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see how things go next week.
I'll pull the goalie straight from the start of the game.
Right. You're sitting on the bench.
What we could also do, and it's something that we could think about, is that right now we have penalties turned off, and I don't know what kind of game this would look like if we had it turned on.
Okay.
That's something to think about as well.
I say we start paying with all of it.
We'll play with all the settings.
all the settings.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
All right. Next week.
All right. Yep. So that's another episode down.
You know what probably happened? I wonder if, I mean, you know, our listeners don't know, but you know what happens when I get cocky, right?
It goes poorly.
Like, every time. That time I was playing my dad in basketball, and I thought I was going to school him.
Yep.
I was talking so much smack in the beginning.
And then he just ran you.
Man, like 35 years older than me.
It was
school.
Bad. It was really bad. Blocking your leg.
I was
all
like
kinds of stuff.
16 or 17, which would have made Dad like 55.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next week on the Rubber Match. Bye, y'all.